Ladies and gentlemen, live and direct from the Hot 97 back room, a.k.a. a TV studio, a.k.a. sitting on a stoop. Cypher Sounds Rosenberg, a.k.a. Juan Epstein, with the legendary Bobbito Garcia, a.k.a. the Bob from Stretch and Bob.
Indeed.
It is. We've been trying to have y'all up here for a while. Stretch says he's coming.
Really?
He said he was coming, right?
We'll see.
Did you speak to him?
In email, he said he was coming.
He said he was
Okay.
coming.
Did you speak to him?
I didn't speak to him today, but I mean, I saw
the same email thread.
I'll bear witness.
Okay.
He
sounded like
he's
he
on
was
his way.
coming.
Yeah.
Okay, because I saw him recently walking his poodle on the street. I pulled up, I just yelled out, "Hey, yo, Stretch!" And I saw him get that face like, it's Syph. Oh, Syph brought his doggy over.
A poodle.
Some kind of little dog.
Straight hip hop.
So Bobbito got a new movie.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
You and Stretch will get along really well.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously. You got a new movie you made, basketball movie. I mean, obviously we know, if you know anything about Bobbito Garcia, you know he's heavily into New York basketball, basketball in general. It's called Doing It in the Park. Now, before we let you promote that, we need to get some information from you.
Okay.
Okay. Why don't you run down your history real quick?
Start
Let the
at
people
birth.
know.
Start at birth.
Well, first off, my name is Bobbito Garcia, a.k.a. Cool Bob Love, formerly known as The Barber, the Edge of King of Swing, doing my thing. I think my entertainment history starts in 1990. My partner, Stretch Armstrong, and I started a radio show.
No, go back.
No,
How did you
before
meet
that?
Stretch Armstrong?
Okay,
Well
wow,
done.
okay. I started working at Def Jam as a messenger in 1989.
Messenger.
Yes, making $5 an hour, working for Russell Simmons, carrying records to Red Alert and Marley Marl.
Really?
Yeah, that was my first
what
job.
a job that is.
Yeah, and so, and then from that, I met Stretch because he was an up-and-coming DJ. Started giving him records. He actually interned for me at one
Stretch
point.
intern for you at Def Jam.
At Def Jam, yeah.
Wow.
I used to fall asleep on the couch because he had DJed the night before. And then in 1990, we started a radio show. And in the following 8 years, we kind of took over the airwaves.
Yeah.
You know, sort of like how you guys have done with your own brand, your own approach. You know, we were two nerds basically. You know, and we didn't follow any formula for being on radio. And we had 4 hours on 89.9 FM WKCR.
What is it?
89.9 FM.
89 Tech 9.
89 Tech 9. Columbia.
What the fuck is this guy?
Disrespecting you.
What?
Disrespecting
89 Tech 9.
Yeah. So,
All right, go ahead.
so and then in that time frame, we had the blessing to come across a lot of incredible unsigned artists, including Nas, Jay-Z when he had a 12-inch deal, Big L, Wu-Tang. You know, when Old Dirty was Ason Unique. Big Pun when he was known as Big Dog the Punisher.
I mean, really everyone. Is there anyone who came up in New York who didn't come through you first?
Well, it's not just New York, because Souls of Mischief were unsigned.
Right,
they came
of
through. The whole Hieroglyphics, crew came through. Stretch was playing. My mom's playing Tricks on Me like 9 months before Hot 97 picked it up. You know, in the commercial radio, like it became a hit. So I mean, we had just had no bars. Like whether you're signed, whether you're unsigned, whether you're on a big label, indie. You got skills, come up to the show, you got a home. And, Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, right there, those are like the three of the illest lyricists you could think of. Mobb Deep when they were poetical prophets. Big Pun, you throw him in there, Killer Cameron, Murder Mace, you know what I mean? Like, and then you talk about the whole indie level, Post 95, Company Flow, Juggernauts, all those cats. Craig G reinvigorated his career on our show. Kool Keith reinvigorated his career on our show. So, Super Nat, Craig G battle started on our show. So a lot of things that were like integral to the 90s, so we're thankful, a lot of artists remember us. Some of them don't, but
you
either
also
way.
started a label during that period towards the later part of the 90s.
Yeah.
A weird name.
Yeah.
Kind of perverted.
Yeah. Fondle 'em, that's right.
Syph, if you're listening
Which
to the
was
podcast,
that was a subliminal message to the major industry, because basically I felt I had worked, for Def Jam for 4 years.
Wait, were you an A&R at Def Jam?
I was part of the decision making team that helped LL Cool J go platinum for Mama Said Knock You Out.
Wow.
I was part of the decision making team for EPMD, Nice and Smooth. When they came on board, I would help Faith Newman, who was the A&R, and Russell decide on what singles would come out off the album. Yeah, by virtue of the feedback. Everything cool?
That's all right.
Super Bowl blackout.
Yeah, I got you. Did Beyonce just walk in or something?
Beyonce just walked in.
Yeah, I would basically, listen to the feedback of the Rosenbergs and Cypher Sounds throughout the world, because that was my role. I was the mix show.
What songs you feeling off the album? So the album comes out, you find out which ones the DJs are playing.
Or they'd be like, yo, the B side is crazy. Or in the case with L, that was probably like the biggest decision we made was I passed out Boomer System on a cassette. I made like 60 copies and just hit the red alert of every city.
Right.
At that point. And then the feedback was so banana because,
why didn't you just email the MP3?
Yeah. You should.
Nah, they didn't
attach
exist
it,
back
send it
Yo, promotions nowadays is a lot different, right?
Oh, hell yeah. It's lazy.
The label
lazy
just
as fuck.
sends reply
They
all
send it
and
over and over.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Dude, I used to have to send records and write the label in the UPS book as well as the package.
Every time.
Special K, Teddy Ted. I knew their address by heart. I wrote it so many times.
And
Anyway.
then, so Boomer System was something you thought should be a single and the label didn't or something like that?
I mean, that was the feedback was so strong off of Booming System that I went back to Russell and I was like, yo, I think we got, because you got to remember LL, the album before that, bombed out. You know what I mean? That was his worst selling album. So we had to resurrect his career.
The one before was Walk with the Panther? What was
the one before that was Walking with the Panther? Right. Yeah. Where he had the I'm That Type of Guy single.
I liked I'm That Type of Guy. I'm sorry, I was very young.
When you're young and there's a video.
I'm the type of guy. Yeah, I guess in retrospect,
it wasn't hot.
Nah, it wasn't hot.
No,
but
we grown up. If you were like an actual DJ at that point, I'm like, what is this?
But the video was cool.
The video was cool. As a kid, I was like, this is nice.
I'm gonna share an interesting story because Nas called me out in an interview a couple of years ago. But basically, when I was doing A&R, Nas was coming up to our radio show a number of times, me and Stretch. So I got to know him.
Large Pro was bringing him? Who was bringing
him? No, actually, the first time he came up was with, my bad. Large Pro, because he did Live at the Barbecue. So I was giving the Nas and Akinelli demos. Now, a year before that,
I think I heard this story.
Russell had given me the Simply Too Positive MCs demo. They later became Organized Confusion. Now, they split up. You got Pharoah Monch. Right, so, and Russell, I suggested to Russell that he signed them to a deal, but he was like, yo, they too lyrical, I don't see any hits or whatever. So when I heard Nas's demo, which had the original It Ain't Hard to Tell, I was like, yo, this kid is mad lyrical. I don't think Russell's gonna see the vision to see him as an artist on Def Jam. And listen, I was right, because Search wound up signing Nas to his production deal, later brought it to Russell. Russell passed on it again. So, but in Nas's mind, it was like I passed on.
You passed on.
Yeah, I passed on his demo. I was just saving him the time because I didn't want to waste his time. So yeah, he
that's crazy.
He tried to call me out in an interview. I was like, yo, come on, B. Like, you did your thing, But he shows us mad love. He always bigs up me and Stretch.
Nah,
but
a dude like that, or any dude, will always remember somebody who might have passed him up or looked another way.
Of course.
But it happened to anybody that's an A&R. They have a story like that.
Of course.
Oh, 100%. Special Ed was passed by Def Jam. I mean, hundreds of artists were passed by Def Jam that wound up getting signed other places. So.
Well, obviously, probably the whole business was because Def Jam was everyone's first choice for such a long period that every rapper who came out, I mean, such a high percentage probably tried to go to Def Jam first.
Yeah, and it wasn't that big back then, probably.
Nah,
right, they weren't like, I'm going to go to Next Plateau. I didn't
Yo, don't ever diss Eddie O'Loughlin. You crazy? Don't fix your lips to diss my brother, Eddie O'Loughlin.
I won't ever diss Next Plateau.
But I will say that when I first started working at Def Jam, we only had like 10, 12 employees, period. And we were selling millions and millions of records. And when I got there, I couldn't even fathom how successful they were based on how disorganized and small we were. Nah, dead up. But I also while we on camera, I got to big up Pete Nice, MC Search from Third Base, literally grabbed my hand and said, yo, Bob, there's an opening as a messenger. Dave Gossett at Def Jam at the time, I replaced him as a messenger. He moved on to doing marketing. And Dante Ross, who was my dude, going to clubs, and I saw how he had started at Rush as an intern messenger.
Right.
And then
But what did
was
you
doing
do?
A&R. So he was like my role model basically. That's the dude I wanted to be like. Dante Ross was like the template, you know.
But what did you do before that they all knew you? Were you a barber? Were you living
Wow, that's a good question. Well, basically, yeah, I played ball. You know, I played ball my whole life.
Right.
So I knew Pete through playing ball. You know, a lot of cats in the hip hop world, when they met me, their respect was immediate because they knew me as a ball player. And they also knew me as a sneaker dude. Because I would crush people in the 80s because I was painting dating back to 1981, customizing shoes, coming to clubs. When I started going to Paydays, cats, I remember the day I went to Paydays and De La Soul was there, and I had some Puma Sky Alexas. Y'all probably don't remember them. But I had painted them in gold, the whole shoe, and made the stripe white. So they were like, yo, they were telling us, who is your man and how did he get those?
Right.
So, you know, from that I had early sneakers respect, early basketball respect, and then that led to, you know,
people knowing
me, showing me love. And I was just always a Cool Bob Love. When Serge gave me that nickname, it was fitting because that's just always who I've been.
You play high school ball too?
I played high school at Brooklyn Tech, played high school ball at Lower Merion High School, same joint that Kobe Bryant went to. I was there 12 years before he was. I played college ball at Wesleyan University, and I played professionally in Puerto Rico.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, no doubt.
I didn't know that.
I played for Arecibo.
Wow, you were really serious with the basketball.
So the music is like a side gig to your ball.
It was always hand in hand. You know, it was always hand in hand. In fact, I had a chance to potentially go back to PR to play ball or to get my feet wet in New York, and I decided to stay in New York, and it was a blessing because that's how I got at Def Jam.
Right.
And then my whole music career, you know, jumped off from that. From Def Jam, I met Mimi Valdez. She brought me on to Vibe magazine. I met John Schechter because he was a radio DJ. He put me on writing for The Source. You know, so all that,
crazy,
you know, leads to everything basically.
It's hard to know which direction to go because I want to find out like the story, why things.
Your viewers still tuned in?
Yeah.
Like,
trust. So people are probably a lot of the people right now listening on the podcast on the Juan Epstein app, which you can download at the App Store, of course.
Okay.
Go to the App Store, search for Juan Epstein, download the app, or subscribe on iTunes, or people watch it on YouTube, but then they just put it in the background at work and are just listening to the conversation.
Right. So peace to everybody out there. What up?
But so it's hard to know where to go. I want to jump forward and then go back to stories.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask. So it seems to me like clearly basketball in the competition of loves in your life, basketball to me seemed to win out in the long term.
Well, I mean, not exactly because all right. So the culmination of my basketball and my entertainment experience becomes the documentary that I co-directed with a young cat from France named Kevin Coolio. He's a videographer. You know, up and coming director. So we, you know, he brought his film. I brought my stories and my writing and my knowledge of the streets, and we did a film called Doing It in the Park, Pick Up Basketball NYC. We won the Audience Award for Best Feature at the Urban World Film Festival back in September. God bless Angie Martinez. She had us on a show to promote the screening there. You know, bigged it out. We sold out the screening. They had to add another show. And we're trying to release it now in mid-April. But basically, you know, I scored the film, you know, worked with Eddie Palmieri, 9-time Grammy Award winner, to place his music in certain scenes, you know, picked out certain tracks that I knew from indie artists, from Afrobeat to soul to hip-hop to boom, boom, boom. So, you know what I'm saying? My perspective as a DJ helped, you know, me as a music supervisor. Right. My history as a writer, I wrote a book. Where'd You Get Those? New York City Sneaker Culture, 1960, 1987, got released in 2003. You know, my experiences there helped me write the script, you know, for the documentary. And then my radio experience, you know, being on 89.9 FM for 12 years. I was on Hot 97 with Stretch here for 2 years, from 96 to 98. When I was interviewing, you know, Kevin had the camera, I'm doing all the interviews. So I'm interviewing Pee Wee Kirkland, you know, Corey Homicide Williams, a lot of cats that are known in the playgrounds, but also a lot of cats that are not known. The film is about the 99 percenters, you know, about the everyday person that can't wait to get off of work, you know, dedicates their life to playing pickup. And then what that community presents, you know, as a culture, as a movement, you know. And of course we had to do New York because that's the Mecca, but you could be anywhere. You don't even have to like basketball to enjoy our film. We have mad girlfriends of ball players coming up like, yo, I don't even like the NBA. I hate when my boyfriend plays, but I love your film. You know what I'm saying? So we trying to get it out this April. We got a Kickstarter campaign.
Where's the Kickstarter? Where can people find that?
It'd be too long to tell you the URL, but it's Kickstarter. Just go to Kickstarter.com and type in Doing It in the Park or type in Babito, or you can just go to our website, doingitinthepark.com. That's spelled without a G.
Okay.
And essentially what we're doing now, the film is finished. We're just trying to raise funds to independently release it, to get it in theaters, do DVD, Blu-ray, get it on iTunes, Amazon, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So it's a climb, you know what I'm saying? Because like only 1% of all documentaries made every single year get in theaters.
Wow.
Only 1%. So we up against the odds right now, you know, and we have a beautiful film. People love it. We've already screened it in 5 continents, you know, so we got a following.
You're not going to do a screening in Antarctica?
Why?
Yo, you crazy.
I mean, there's 2 more continents, man.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here, man.
Yeah,
It's like they didn't show any respect.
Well, we're gonna screen it in Mexico, Singapore, Philippines, Greater China, South Africa all this summer.
That's crazy.
And Nike's gonna present those screenings. We did they presented our film in London and Tokyo already, and you know, we killed it.
Yeah,
you know, they brought us out to do the Q&A and everything. So, you know, those screenings will be dope, but we try to just get it also like just a general commercial release so that anywhere, if you live in Antarctica, if you live in Bushwick, you know, you can watch the film, download it from our website, doingitinthepark.com, spelled without a G, like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So tell me about you guys, man.
No,
you know,
hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
I can't flip this around and interview you.
No. Yeah, that's right.
No, so
great set by the way on Friday. I missed.
Oh, well, it was a little bit rough. You had no headphones. Thank God for Serato, though. Back in the day, you had no headphones. You were basically a rap. Unless you had stickers on all your records, like to every cue point. And even then, I don't even really know how to do that. I never put stickers for cue points.
Well, you know, some of them cats used to needle drop without headphones. They just knew by the width of the band of the groove. They would just knew how to go like that and go back and forth, just needle dropping. Yeah, that's bananas, B. You gotta see my man Grand Wizard Theodore do that. It's crazy.
He can just needle drop.
Needle drop, B. You can't do that with Serato because
the grooves don't mean anything.
What? Also, before we move on, I want to bring attention to my man Cypher Sounds. His sneakers look incredible, and he reminded me of
95s.
Yo, the Dope Fiend Jelly Roll. That's what we used to call in the early '80s. That was the process. The Dope Fiend Jelly Roll. Cats used to take socks, put it underneath their tongue, right, to make their sneakers look mad big and wide. And used to stamp it, and then they would put the fat laces in there, and then they would just their sneakers would look exaggerated.
But Cypress has really fat feet.
Yeah,
so it worked out great.
I feel
you don't have to do anything. Just
I got a brace because I hurt my ankle, so that's part of the fatness there.
Yeah. Just to fill you in real quick,
but they look hot.
It's just a wide foot, just a wide flat foot.
To fill you in case you're wondering, Bob.
Yeah.
Syph was running down the street towards a comedy show and tripped and fell by himself, and that's how the injury occurred. I just wanted to, because you're an athlete, so I thought you guys
sports reference.
Yeah, I thought you guys could relate because you're both athletes in that sense. So what's your day job now? Is it just like doing random gigs and basketball events, and Nike pays you to do this, and someone pays you to do that, and someone pays you to travel?
Yeah. Well, my main priority right now is the film, Doing It in the Park, Pickup Basketball NYC. I mean, just, co-directing it with Kevin Coolio is just half the job. The other half is to get it out there. So I do all the bookings for the screenings.
But that's all spending money. How do you make money?
Yeah. So basically, I DJ at Camaradas in Spanish Harlem once a month, the first Monday. I also DJ at an Italian restaurant in the Lower called Il Bagato. I'm there every Sunday from 7 to 10. Cool. Lounge, you know what I'm saying? Chill. I get consulting gigs from time to time from sneaker companies. I make a ton of appearances, both nonprofit as well as, corporate. Sometimes they're inspirational speeches, or sometimes they're, to talk about sneakers, or, I do lectures. I've done colleges lecturing about my book. I DJ, around the world. You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes when people recognize me on a train, I don't know what they're recognizing me for. Right. They be like, "Yo, how's this?"
You have a TV show.
I did a TV show on ESPN called It's the Shoes. So when they be like, "Yo, what happened to the show?" I gotta ask them, like, which one? I did a show for Madison Square Garden Network called Summer Ball for three seasons as well. I used to be the halftime reporter for the Knicks. in 06 and 07. Yeah, I used to do the what Jill Martin does now.
Yeah.
Interviews whoever's at Celebrity Row. Yeah, I used to do the interviews. So when people be like, "Yo, what happened to the show?" I'm like, "Well, you talking about
KCR,
me and Stretch?
Hot 97.
Yeah. You know, I don't know. So, but I love it when people show me respect on a train or remember who I am. I appreciate you guys bringing me up. You know, I'm 40. Listen, I'm 46. A lot of people.
Same age as Mike Tyson.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know about what we did in the 90s.
You
assume that everybody does, but
I know,
you know
I do. We do fall into that bubble of everybody should know what your Stretch and Bob's show and all that. But it's funny because since we started doing one episode, we were like, we gotta get Stretch and Bob.
Well, people. Here's the thing: our regular show on the air is nothing like you guys, except the influence of the casual sarcasm and shit talk that I think you sort of instilled in hip hop in general. But our morning show is a morning show; it's different.
Yeah.
But our podcast, people have often likened us to you guys because of the way.
But
we
it's
interact.
like your interview portion of how you used to do on the radio, lengthened longer. You know what I'm saying? Like you would have interviews for a while and then play music where we just interview people, and it's like, oh, that's.
Oh, y'all don't even play music on the podcast? Because
Unless
I've been bugging just now. I've been waiting for them to be like, oh, okay, we're gonna get back to the music, and then
unless we put the microphone to the laptop. And
every
just play
once in a while we put the mic to the laptop. That's right. But that's not what it's for. It's just for people to hear. And we have we've created a nice illustrious working here has afforded us many amazing guests. So you were in some good company. Our last one, we did the Far Side last week, which is pretty cool.
Dope.
The Chi Ali before
we
that.
did Chi Ali right before that.
Okay.
We've done
Huh? Oh, my bad.
Mike.
My bad.
and we've done Q-Tip a few times. De La, but that episode was destroyed, so it's never been heard. Jay-Z, Eminem, we've had, and then so many more nerdy, more offbeat ones. But a lot of people mention you guys, and it's I only got to hear you guys a little bit. Really, growing up in DC, I heard about you guys.
Yeah.
And then when you made it, and then when you were on Hot 97, I'd hear you on I was rarely around on Sunday night, so I'd hear you on mix weekends. I'd hear Stretch mixing on mix weekends and things like that. So I kind of missed out on hearing, except for just hearing tapes.
Yeah.
And then when I'd hear random recordings and stuff, you guys kind of created the format for then what became hip hop college radio. It's like the whole feel. You can even hear it now. When you hear hip hop college radio, you can still. It's developed over the years and been passed down that style. Although, remember when they recently did the reunion?
I heard about it.
No, you did. When I came to the station, we turned on the radio in the studio. Remember, it was still on for the last half hour?
Yeah.
So we listened in the studio from 5 to 5:40.
Oh, word.
Because you stayed on late. So we listened in Hot 97 doing the morning show. We had it on in the room.
Yeah.
And we were cracking up because I was like, can you imagine if we did this on commercial radio? Because there are moments on your radio show where it's literally an inside joke and laughter for 15 minutes.
Yeah. No, that people love not understanding what we were talking about, but they would just hear us laugh, and then they would just laugh along with it.
Right.
And there were people that literally to this day will say, yo, the music y'all play was great, but I used to tune in to hear y'all talk. And so in that respect, we were kind of format breakers because a lot of people that did college radio in the 80s, their goal and their vision was to eventually get on commercial radio, like that, use it as a platform.
Right.
When me and Stretch got on, we had no plan. We were just like, yo, let's just do a funny show, have Bug Out, and have our friends up.
There was no mission statement, no plan
there was
when
no,
you first
it was, it was like 4 hours. And
But did you say we're not going to play commercial music? Was that a statement made, or you just started playing
Nah,
underground?
it was just Stretch. Stretch had his ear, which was great. We just played good music, and the thing was like, we didn't even do station ID. FCC regulations requires you do a station ID at the top of every hour. We paid that no mind. We sometimes we would play freestyles. We were the first station ever to play like an hour and a half of freestyles consecutively. Yeah. That was Stretch's idea after our first year. We're like, yo, how are we going to celebrate our anniversary? He's like, yo, let's take all the best freestyles. I had been compiling them the whole year. He was like, yo, let's just play them straight. So people just blacking out on freestyles.
First of all, here's something we need to get into. How is your collection of the freestyles and all the materials? Where is it organized?
Everything. I have a milk crate with all my cassettes from the 12 years I was on the radio. They all in the milk crate.
Fit in one milk crate?
Fit in one, I didn't record every show. I only would record once a month, and then the freestyle compilations I would like, you know, chop down. That's why I like when the Big L Jay-Z freestyle first came out, you hear it chopped. Yeah. It's edited because that was played on our show afterwards as a chopped edit. I had a cassette that was like pause tapes, so I didn't have the professional like
run it into the computer.
No computers.
No, just hit record on Pro Tools, and you could have done it way cleaner. That edit was horrible.
Nah. So
everything's on cassette.
For me, Stretch used to. He started digitizing. He started recording our show on
that.
VHSs.
VHS. Super VHS.
Yeah, because you could record 4 hours in a row, so there was no break.
The shit about people used to record with VHS because you could set the timer.
Yep.
Yeah.
For your VCR.
So you leave the radio running into it and set the timer when you leave the house.
A lot of the majority of people would press record, go to sleep, set the alarm to an hour and a half later or 90 minutes later to flip it. But you know, me, I was up there. I got my tapes. When I listen back to our show, I like listening to it on a cassette. I want to hear how it was originally recorded. I'm not against the digitizing and all that, and you know, Peace to Philly Flavors and the Stretch and Bobbito blogs, you know, and Dirty Waters, all these cats that, you know, have been like altrap.com, you know, they've been archiving our shows, and I appreciate that because it allows, you know, the younger cats who can't get their hands on a cassette. They don't have all our shows. I mean, no one has all of our shows. Not even Stretch. You know, Stretch will hit up people like, yo, you got that show from '95. I got to shout out Talib Kweli. My brother's been retweeting about me and Kevin's film doing in the park like crazy. Love him for that. And I was looking up my catalog. I have a catalog of every single artist that ever came to the show.
Wow.
What date? And I was like, oh, January 5th, 1995, Talib came up with Taj from the Licks. Talib was unsigned back then. I forgot about that. So that might very well be his first public appearance. You know, I always talk about Nas and Biggie, but I forgot that Talib.
So many people.
Yeah, it's a lot.
What did Biggie do the first time he came up?
Biggie, he came up via Matty C, who used to do the Unsigned Hype for The Source. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Matty and us had a great relationship because, like, for example, the Artifacts came on our show, blew up, you know, everybody in the tri-state was talking about them, and then Matty took them and put them on Unsigned Hype. So in the opposite direction, he was like, yo, Bob, yo, Stretch, I got a cat named Biggie. I think he's going to blow up. Here's his demo. I want to bring him up to the show to freestyle. So he brought him up, you know, crazy story, but we played Biggie's demo that night. We used to do demo battles. So we played Biggie's demo against a crew from the Bronx called the Bronx Zoo. And we used to have the people call in to vote. And the Bronx Zoo won the demo battle.
But Biggie won the war.
Yeah. They might have won the battle, but exactly. But rest in peace to Biggie. And, you know, he used to show Stretch. I didn't really see Big too much, you know, after that, or even ever after that. But he would see Stretch, you know, from time to time.
Because Biggie loved DJs, like in hip hop, like he had everybody's mixtapes and would hang out with fucking all the DJs.
So then that's where we gotta jump into what eventually happened to the end of Stretch and Bob, because the perceived notion, at least as I always believed it to be, was that you were staying the way you'd always been, Fondle 'em, underground, and Stretch got up here and started getting a little bit more in line with the mix show DJ route, and as hip-hop kind of started splitting in 97, Stretch started going a little bit
to the left.
And you were like,
his shit was to the left.
Or yeah, really, you were to the left. And he was saying straight away.
Well, we were both to the left. I mean, I think, you know, we had, a lot of people don't realize that the you know, 90% of the music that was played on WKCR was all Stretch. You know, I would fill in if he was on the road, play my demos and play my weird things, you know. But then towards the end of the last, like when we did get on hot, like the last 2 years of KCR, you know, Stretch was popular. He was more popular than ever. He was getting a lot of bookings. So he was missing the show more and more. So now more of my flavors coming out, more of the, you know, the Cenobites and the Juggernauts and all these, like, you know, weird, not weird, but you know what I'm saying? Like maybe not
more
stuff.
Offbeat.
Offbeat. I like the offbeat. I was eclectic like that. So, and Stretch's thing wasn't ever lyrics. His thing was beats. you know, and a lot of the artists that were making the music that he dug leaned more actually towards like, you know, Thug. We used to call it Thug Thursdays when Stretch would be on, you know, and then I would call it like, you know, Bob Out of Space, you know. So really, it was just a musical lineage that started separating. And when we said peace to each other, you know, it was fine because he kept on doing Hot, I kept on doing KCR, so we each had our place.
So he left KCR.
He eventually, well, we started alternating Thursdays.
Yeah, that was.
So he could do his thing, I could do my thing.
That was the Big Boy Andre 3000 double album shit. It got so weird because I used to work at Fat Beats and we used to get the cassettes, and then that era was like, damn, what they doing? They breaking up, like, but they trying to keep the show like.
It felt weird.
Yeah, it felt very weird.
It was. I mean, it was a weird time, but you know, just like everything else, you know, he moved on, I moved on.
What was happening with the Hot show at that point?
I decided to quit Hot.
Oh, you left, and he
I left Hot. You know, at that point, I did it for 2 years. I didn't really see. We did the morning show January 1st, 1997 together, but beyond that. And that was because Ed and Dre, they needed a replacement, so the Hot staff, they brought us in. I didn't really see a long-term career at Hot 97, you know, so I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I'm just going to move on. I'll keep on doing KCR. I eventually let KCR go as well. And then, you know, same thing, you know, Stretch's show ended on Hot. He left KCR. You know, we just moved on. And it's kind of nice now to get booked by Red Bull, you know, and do like a lecture series and then, you know, DJ and talk about and do the 20th anniversary on Susio's show when he was still doing 89.9 and, you know, to get up here and, you know, just share the history because it's a beautiful history, you know what I'm saying? And there was so much fun that we had up there. It's bugged out, you know?
Awesome. It's that I didn't listen as much as I should have because it felt like, oh, it's always on. You know what I'm saying? And then when it ended, I was like, I should have. And then they used to bring the cassettes to Fat Beats to sell. And I was like, I'll get them later.
What happened?
I'll get them later.
And what happened?
And the show stopped.
And then
I left Fat Beats. I got some.
Other people got more.
Other people got more. People used to come in every week, buy it every single week.
Smart.
And hit that. My favorite was the cough button for hours.
Staccato stuff.
No, that could ask for 10 minutes.
I used to call your station all the time. Y'all never said my name. I mean, I might have said my name once.
Yeah, we used to cook people. They call up and we used to cook them.
Like people just do voices.
People would call up and if we didn't diss them, they'd be like, yo, that's it. You're not gonna, no, go ahead. And
you ain't gonna diss me?
We would hang up on people. You know, actually, Buck Wild and
Star and Buck Wild.
They actually told Stretch at one point that some of the, you know, the format ideas for their show successful, you know, here at Hot, you know, that they got from inspired by us.
Had to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anyone in recent times that you've bumped into and you were blown and disappointed that like you were sure this was someone who was gonna like be really cool when they saw you and be kind of excited and they actually went kind of Hollywood on you and you were like, oh, word, all right.
Nah, I think I can't think of it. I think
like the type though that you would press someone if like let's say it was someone who's a huge megastar now and you didn't necessarily have a great relationship with them but you knew them and they did the show to start. You don't seem like the kind of guy who'd be running up to them to be like, hey, just wanted to check in, fam. That doesn't seem like your style.
Nah, I mean, I would guess the only example I could think of is, you know, Jay-Z came up to our radio show when he had a 12-inch deal before his album dropped. And
In My Lifetime. Right?
He came up, the first joint that was on Freeze Records. And he came up like...
Whoa, hold on. Syph, that was...
That was...
In My Lifetime before it was on Payday?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but Payday
released the 12-inch after my lifetime. But I'm saying the album came out on Freeze.
Okay. Oh, Freeze priority. Right. Gotcha.
So
Payday was Dead Presidents?
No. Payday was In My Lifetime.
Yeah. Anyway.
And then the remix.
So Jay-Z came up to our show like maybe 3-4 times. One time he brought up Big Daddy Kane. The most famous one is when he came up with Big L. He came up with another crew, I think called the Brooklyn Rangers or something like that.
He brought them up?
Oh, the Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers, something like that.
I remember the Rangers. That one of the dudes from the Rangers was at that event last week.
Oh, word? Okay. So and basically, I mean, he was a cocky dude. You know what I mean? Like, and back then I was like, you know, who's you? You know, like to be walking around here like you the greatest MC in the world. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he was nasty. You know, no doubt. But I'm just saying I think Jay was particular in that he knew from jump that he was going to blow up. Like, I don't know how he knew, but he just had that confidence in that air.
Work ethic.
This is like, I'm talking 95. Like, he came up to our radio show. I'm not saying 1 a.m., like 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m. He's up there with Kane, you know, like rhyming, like trying to, you know.
Well, he must have already felt like the man for even being able to bring Kane up to the radio station.
Quite possibly.
So he brought Big L. I always assumed Big L brought him.
Nah,
Big L goes, I got my man Jay-Z. I don't know. I always thought he brought him.
Well, L was another cat that came up to our show 4 or 5 times. And the amazing thing for me is that the one that's the most known is the one with Jay, obviously because what Jay did, but L, that wasn't L's best performance. L crushed it a couple other times with even better, you know, in my estimation, better verses and better music that Stretch had played for him. But anyway, I don't really know who, you know, it's funny how history works. I thought that Big L and Jay-Z, we had both booked them separately and that they both came up. And what would often happen, I would be like, yo, y'all in the waiting room together. You want to get on the mic together and just create something ill? So in my mind, I always took credit for that. But then I was being interviewed by a documentary by this cat named Jules that's doing a story of Big L's life. And he told me that, yo, L and Jay had actually battled on 139th and Lenox outside. And that they were already talking about combining either to have L on Rockefeller or to do an album or something. Don't quote me on any of this. But basically they knew each other beforehand, and that's part of the reason why they wound up on our show together. How that exactly happened, I don't know. You'd have to ask Jay. Anyway, to bring it back to your question, when I was doing the halftime reports for the Knicks, I used to take the elevator, you know, the backstage elevator. And one day I was on the elevator with Jay and Beyonce, you know. So saw Jay, yo, what up? Gave him a pound. Really didn't have much to say. He didn't have much to say, but, you know, he gave me a pound, showed me my respect. And then he complimented me for my sneakers that I had on. Of course. And that was it. But nah, I wasn't going to come up on him like, yo, you know, remember that time he came over with Big L? Like, he was with his girl, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to be all...
Can I say a couple things?
Yeah, go ahead.
One, when he's with B, he's always different. He's a little more reserved because he's with his wife. He don't want to...
And deservedly so. Like, she don't want to talk about Big L.
Then he caught a lot of flack for that Big L freestyle because a lot of people were saying he bit some of Big L's rhymes and made him into a hook or something.
Oh,
remember Cameron was calling him a biter, and there was all that shit about him biting rhyme, all the Biggie rhymes.
Oh, really?
Right, and then there was something in that Big L says in that freestyle
that ends up somewhere else
that he's sensitive about because it's in a song, and then he's basically saying, yo, I'm showing love to Big L, and people saying I bit his rhymes, and that freestyle's from your show, so I can see him seeing you and getting a little. Oh,
I think you're looking at into it way too much. I think he was with his woman. You know, said peace, peace, and that's it. And keep it moving.
Maybe
you know
he just don't like Puerto Ricans.
Oh, yeah.
Nah.
I'm going with that one.
You know what I mean?
It's the likelihood.
Jay-Z's racist.
Well, it's been solved. Another mystery solved.
I'm not part of this show right now. I'm just a guest.
Right, well, listen.
I don't co-sign anything they're saying.
So, we got to wrap up, but you and Stretch were not on bad terms when it came to an end.
Nah.
It was cool.
I mean, we wasn't on the best of terms, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
were you ever best friends?
Yo, me and Stretch were roommates. You understand? Like, we were like, his bedroom was there, my bedroom was there. We, paid rent together. And then, you know what I mean? Like, that's...
So you when you got on the radio, you was like 20? 20 years old?
Nah, I was already, I was 24.
24. Okay, so when it was all over, you were into your 30s, 32, whatever. So a guy who's 24 and a guy who's 32, they're not the same. You're not going to... We wish it all stayed the same.
But really, Bob was like, listen, Stretch, go play your fucking Mo Money, Mo Problems.
No, it wasn't. I'm
gonna play this company flow.
He wasn't playing commercial shit like that. It was more.
He was playing a lot of Traj, Gaddafi, and
early 50 Cent.
So it wasn't that he was going really commercial.
Nowhere near.
It was
really Capone and Noriega, and I like those artists too. Capone and Noriega is another group that came up to our show before they were signed.
Yeah.
Tragedy brought them up. and Stretch was releasing singles
Stretch put
with
out
them.
LALA.
On Dolo Records. So that was his group. That was his crew. That was his crew. So like I said, our interest was just going in different directions musically. You know what I mean?
All right, I'm being told we have to wrap up.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. So real quick, one more time.
Yes.
Doing It in the Park. You can go to doitinthepark.com.
Yep.
And you can go there, find the Kickstarter campaign, help contribute so we can see this movie in theaters.
No doubt. And it's co-directed by myself and Kevin Coolio. It's my first film. It's his first film. And we appreciate the blessing of being on the Juan Epstein show and the Hot 97 show to help support it. And look out for it this spring. Doitinthepark.com, spelled without a G. All right.
And next time Stretch is going to show up, and I think next time, since now we went over a lot of history, when Stretch comes, we should really try to maybe freak something crazy and do like actually just a radio show together where we all kind of go in, play music, and kind of like combine.
You want to bring the turntables in here?
Come together like Voltron.
Yo, not for nothing. That'd be kind of ill. That'd be kind of ill.
What if we did like? We feel like we're like a white boy and a Puerto Rican on Hot 97 morning show, but we try, and it's hard, but we try to keep some kind of, if you listen to like the beats we play in the background, we try to keep some early hip hop essence on that real like Stretch and Bob new version nowadays, man.
I mean, what's the most consistent bed we play on our show because of a segment is The Realness by Group Home.
Yeah.
And that's every day. That plays twice a day.
Cypher Sounds Rosenberg, a.k.a. Juan Epstein, with the legendary Bobbito Garcia, a.k.a. the Bob from Stretch and Bob.
Indeed.